selectively aggressive. I think I'm going to use that one.
Yeah, and I like that word.
What does that mean?
That they got to be selectively aggressive, very selective, and then get aggressive when they recognize someone to go after.
Oh, okay. So we're not going to be overall aggressive.
No,
okay.
Selectively.
Well, what are the Cowboys doing this offseason?
In here, and we talk about signing Javonte Williams, and everybody's. Think about it. Now, Javonte Williams a couple of years ago put up some pretty good numbers. His rookie season in Denver, put up pretty good numbers, but. My concerns here is, when I look at this, what the Cowboys need right now for that franchise, and I'm looking at the draft. So everybody, I don't mind you having that signing, Javonte Williams, at the running back position. But what I don't want and what I'm worried about is, does this take you out of the draft for Jeanty? Because that's who I'm talking about. To change everything. And folks, I put some numbers to this thing, and numbers, I love when them numbers tell me some things. Now, did y'all know, in 1988, Barry Sanders rushed for 2,628 yards at Oklahoma State, 32 TDs. Ashton Jeanty, last year at Boise State, rushed for 2,288 yards. 2,288 yards with 28 TDs.
88, good number.
Boy, and 22. 22, 88. Remember, double trouble, 22. Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That thing started back in 1988 when I got drafted. I'm trying to tell you the numbers are telling me at 12, we take this running back Jeanty, and we right back with the triplets, and we right back where we need to be. And we need to give him 22, so it'll be 22, 88, back on the field again, double trouble. I digress.
He's good.
Hey, you good.
I just built the whole offseason. Yeah. That's all you need to do right there. Get this guy, because it brings hope again. Oh, okay, we didn't do this, we didn't do that, but we got that guy. This may be the next coming of Barry Sanders, and you'll have him in Dallas. Whoa. Yeah, that's how bad this dude is.
It's going to take me a minute, Paul. Go ahead.
I mean, it was a lot of math.
Well, yeah. I mean, like you said, the Cowboys have never done a good job in free agency. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been a lot of years. They're depending on the draft and hopefully some trades. Right now, they're building from within. Is something that they've been doing within the last couple of years by re-signing Dak, re-signing CD, and now they're going to be in a situation to where they're going to have to probably make Micah Parsons the highest-paid non-quarterback coming up, and hope that they can be healthy this year. Because, to be honest, a healthy Cowboys team a couple of years ago was 12-5 team.
Right.
They just didn't have the help, luck button on their side last year. If they can do well in the draft, maybe a trade here or there, they can be right back in the mix. So I won't count them out just yet because they haven't had a significant free agent signing.
Yeah, and the Cowboys have always, guys, just backdrop on the Cowboys, they've always believed in letting this first wave go. Like they always thought that you overpay for players at this place, in this position, because guys are being let go from teams and everybody's bidding on those guys. I heard Stephen Smith say, Stephen Jones said many times that, man, we don't want to overpay for someone else's troubles or someone else's problems. There's a reason they're letting that player go, And I understood that, and that's all cool. But here, we need that hope. We need that hope, and I just don't want this signing to take away that opportunity.
You want to reteam me?
What are the Cowboys doing this offseason?
Not swinging for the fences. They're not doing anything remotely close to that.
Not going all in.
No, and that's okay. Michael hit on something. He said that they like to wait for the first wave to go, and that's very true with the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. They feel like, for whatever reason, they can get a player on a discounted rate. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, that's how they feel. They don't want to overpay. And they've done a good job at doing that in the past, where they've gotten guys and they've turned guys into Pro Bowlers, semi-Pro Bowlers that they've gotten from other teams that teams have said, oh, we don't want to pay. We don't think you're that. But the Cowboys have done a tremendous job in terms of doing things that way.
They have given guys an opportunity.
There's no question. There's no question about it. I would be sitting up here in line. They do a tremendous job at drafting, developing players. But you got to spend the money somewhere. The NFL requires for you to spend the money. So you're not saving. You're just spending money on things that can't help you get to where 88 and 22 and 8 were at 30 years ago.
Right.
You're paying guys that can't help you get there. They're good players, and they may turn into solid Pro Bowlers or all pros, but in the end, those 12-5 seasons didn't amount to anything. Where we look at other teams out there, Philadelphia Eagles, they swing for the fences and they hit home runs.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And they win Super Bowls. The Kansas City Chiefs, they swing for the fences on what they need. They go get a tackle, they need him. They get a receiver, they need him. And they go win Super Bowls. You look at the AFC games that Buffalo has been in. They need a piece like a Von Miller. It cost them a lot. They didn't get to the Super Bowl, but they got the AFC Championship games. They go and trade for guys like Amari Cooper. Didn't amount to a Super Bowl, but they did this. Now look at Washington. Washington is making major changes to their team because they have their sights on San Francisco in the next Super Bowl. So they're saying these things. I don't know why Dallas does this in the way that they do business. It seems like they need to stop doing business the old way and start doing it the way that the other teams that are successful in the National Football League are doing. I have no idea why they do it that way, Joy.
Right.
It has not gotten them anywhere except conversations with us every single free agent period, draft period, or playoffs about what they are and what they could be.
I love philosophy. I love hearing how people like to do things and why they do things. And when you keep throwing the word feeling into stuff, well, I want to look at the facts. Where have the feelings led you? And Keyshawn just explained it. They never spent any money in free agency. So they don't want to go through the first wave of free agency. Well, everybody that is a free agent isn't a free agent because they're terrible.
No.
Sometimes the team that they're with is rebuilding and can't afford to pay them. Every free agency signing has not been a bust. This is a legitimate way to build your roster and a legitimate way to get high-level talent at many different positions.
Just looking for the guy who just rushed for 2,000 yards and won a Super Bowl.
Saquon Barkley was a pretty good signing.
Right.
I don't understand why the Cowboys do it this way. And the reason why I don't understand why the Cowboys do it this way is because what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And I like that. I like when people do things differently. But if you're doing it differently than everybody else is doing it, then you should be getting different results.
Right.
But the teams that are aggressive, the teams that are spending money, not all, but the Cowboys are the ones that do it differently, and they're not getting the success. So I'm not saying that you need to go out and blow money, but you never spend money. And what you do is you hold all the money for your stars so that we keep talking about them every week. And then eventually you're paying more than you need to pay for the guys that are already on your roster.
And that's one side of the mistake. They do end up waiting so long to pay guys, and you have to pay them at a top dollar at another number that you probably didn't have in mind. Like you're going to have to do
twice.
With Michael Parsons.
It happened with Micah and it happened with CeeDee.
But the other side, what you do not see is what we're going to be talking about later also, is what we're seeing with San Francisco, where, or what we saw with the Rams a few years ago. Well, yeah, you go out and you spend on those guys and bring everybody in, but if you don't hit the button, like 49ers didn't hit the button, you have to hit the button like the Rams won the Super Bowl. And then you're going to start dumping.
And
the Niners now are dumping a lot of players that still going to have money on the cap. So I'm just saying, we're both saying the same thing. You have to finagle the cap, and they have to go into future money. It's not just about saving this money in order to do what you guys are talking about. That's what those other teams are doing. You understand what I'm saying? They're going into future money and doing this. And that's where I say Jerry has traded.
I tend to always just let you go because you're going to get caught in the trap with me and Joey. First of all...
Well, you got to throw Joy in there. This is your thought right now. Don't try to grab you some help on your way in the hole. Just get on in there and tell me your thoughts, and then we'll see if Joy agree with it.
I'm not even worried about Joy's going to agree.
I'm just saying. But,
I'm not even worried about it.
That's an old
that's
a courtroom trick now. I've been in courtrooms.
Ain't nobody talking about those courtrooms. Boy.
You know what I mean? Me and the jury want to know. The jury ain't asked nothing. That's all.
Wait, though. You just tried to throw the San Francisco 49ers under the bus along with the Rams. The Rams went to 2 Super Bowls, and so have the 49ers.
And the Rams
and the Rams have won one.
Right.
That's the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
Pockets are tight. And they ain't been nowhere near the Super Bowl.
And that's what we're saying. And we're saying.
So how could you?
Right. You said they drafted well. You just said
they do draft well.
And so
and so does San Francisco.
Right. So,
Nick Bosa was drafted. And Deommodore Lenoir was drafted.
They pay their guys. You said that. They pay their guys.
Yes.
So the problem is they have to go in and get these other guys that we just talked about that they don't want to overpay for because that becomes future money. And we're saying the same
thing. But San Francisco didn't draft Christian McCaffrey. They went and got him.
Correct.
How come the Cowboys can't look at that joy and go, well, they just went and did this. Jalen Ramsey was in Jacksonville. They went and got Jalen Ramsey.
I'm not saying go and get every shiny toy that hits the market. But
y'all haven't went and got a dog toy to even try to shine it up.
I don't know why you're raising your voice like I was on the other side of you on this. I'm saying the same thing.
I just want to make sure. Because Paul, he gets slick. He'll get real slick on you, so you got to watch his words.
I want them to really be selectively aggressive in this situation and say, okay, what you're saying.
Yeah.
We have to find the guy that we're willing to go into the future with. And if we lose, we lose. Or you know what I mean? That we may have to, but we got to find that one guy. And that's why I brought up it has to be somebody that brings hope. You got somebody that's Ashton Jeanty. Go get me a big-time player that I know I'm going to see a difference on the field.
Coach, that's drafting. They did that with Zeke Elliott. That's drafting.
Right,
Your drafting is not the issue. Your issue is going and finding players that can help you right now.
Right. After you draft.
No, the free agency is before the draft.
Right. But you want to add pieces to the players that you draft to build on. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. And picking up the pieces that you need. Last year, they needed Derrick Henry. They
or a running back.
And then they didn't go get that running back. And you had an opportunity to get him. That's what I mean with selective aggressive. Go get that guy that you thought will really help the team.
But that guy's going to be off the market if you wait.
Yeah.
He's gone.
And we're saying the same thing.
Gone.
That's where they've been losing it. Waiting to pay their guys and then waiting to go and sign that other guy.
So do you agree, though, that they need to take a different approach than what they have been over the last however many years?
In free agency, yes. Here.
Okay, all right. That's all I needed you to say.
Right here.
That's all I need you to say.
Well, no, I was saying that. They need to make sure, and that's why I said I like the selectively aggressive approach over the all-in approach.
Court report is going to...
Right.
She's going to bring
over the all-in approach.
Read it back.
So you're going to read it. She's going to read your statement back.
Right. And honestly, and that's what, as we talk through it, that's what I think like the Washington Commanders are doing. They are being selectively aggressive.
They also have a lot of money to spend.
Right. But they're not. They're going after the people in the type of players that'll make a difference in their organization. That's what I call selectively aggressive. They're not just saying, "Oh, that's talent. That's talent. That's talent." Let's go after the people.
I kind of agree with that though, because Washington's in a different situation. They're in a situation where they're looking like, "Hey, we was one game away from the Super Bowl."
Correct. Yeah. And we're trying to get that last piece.
Right.
Them last few pieces.
Whereas Dallas, they are a few pieces away. So they don't want to go out there and just throw money.
But
you know what I'm saying? That's not even.
They were the number two
what's the likelihood? Are they going to make the playoffs next year? What's the likelihood? They're going to probably be the third in their division. 100%.
That's probably. Yeah.
They're going to be third in their division. So it's like, why should we go out there and spend all this money? Let's just wait, sit back, take the, calm approach and not overreact, take care of our core guys. And then let's look and see what's out there that can help us build slowly.
That's what they've been doing. They've been doing that, Paul.
Well, they've been playing well the last few years up until this year.
Up until
this is the 1 year. I mean, they didn't advance in the playoffs. They lost a home game to the Packers, but they've been playing well up until this year.
The Cowboys, the Cowboys gamble how I play blackjack. Just whatever the minimum table bet is, okay.
Right.
I'm not.
That's pretty good.
And you know what? I'm always at the table.
That's pretty good.
I'm not. I'm not the chip leader.
That means you're really not confident in what you're doing. You just want to hang out at the table.
I'm just hanging out.
That's why you do that.
Don't sit next to me though, because I don't need you.
I'm gonna mess the table up. I don't play blackjack.
Joy on out of here.
I don't play blackjack for this reason. But that's the point, though. You have to, at some point, go all in. Last year would have been a year to go all in. Go get a big-time running back. Go take some big swings. Throw some money around. That's what these teams are doing. The Rams, to me, when people bring up the Rams and their down year, I'll I'll take it down here. You just won the Super Bowl. Who cares what happens the year after that? Don't make the playoffs. Don't whatever. Take a year off. Go on vacation. It doesn't matter. Play all the rookies. It doesn't make it. You just won a Super Bowl. Sometimes you have to push it a little bit, and the Cowboys just never do that in free agency.
Right, and I'm with you on that. And when I said I don't need them to go and get everybody, but I do need you to be selective and go about getting the right kind of players.
You got to figure out how to replace Zach Martin, who retired.
Right.
The one kid just went to Jacksonville. Chuma tackle was it Chuma or something? I don't want to screw his name up. But you gotta Chuma Udoga. I think I said it right. If I mess it up, sorry, Chuma. You gotta replace those guys with guys. You can't just assume that people are going to be available in that second and third wave of free agency or after June 1. It's too late at that point in time. That's only one guy you might find after June 1. One guy. You might find one guy. They need more than one guy.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the latest with Aaron Rodgers. 5 teams have acquired starting caliber quarterbacks, but Rodgers still doesn't have a team. And reportedly, the Steelers are in contract negotiations with the 4-time MVP and will, quote, probably sign him. So, my Steelers' only option for Aaron Rodgers?
There's a Giants that's available still. Minnesota seems like they are sold on J.J. McCarthy, so it goes back to Pittsburgh because I'm sure the Giants are looking at it now and they're saying, there's Russell Wilson out there. We saw him across the river. We know what he is. Pittsburgh, for me, would be a good landing spot, as I said the other day, for Aaron Rodgers. They went out and got DK Metcalf. They need to shore up their running game. They need some explosiveness out of that running game. And then they need to have some style points offensively in terms of formations and eye candy and motions and moving guys around, not just lining up in 2 and 3 tight ends and playing 1965 football where you just turn around and hand it to the running back. You got to get creative. And you don't have to have Aaron Rodgers throw the football 35 times a game. You can bring that number down to 25, 200. He can be 19 to 25, 230 yards a touchdown and be good and don't turn the football over and hope that your defense is solid and sound and get out of the building and be successful in the AFC. So I like it if he goes there because Mike Tomlin's in the building. He's not going to disrespect Mike Tomlin. We know that. And Mike Tomlin ain't going to allow him to be disrespectful to the organization and to the players within that locker room. He's coming into a situation that already has culture. The Jets didn't have no culture, so he could have came in off the plane from Egypt and just did whatever he wanted to do.
Which is what he did.
And nobody was going to say anything. That's not going to be the case in this veteran locker room. You got a veteran locker room that, for the most part, when I look at this team, it reminds me of a lot of my Tampa Bay Buccaneers team where everything was heavy defense and the leaders were all on defense. And then they brought in 1 or 2 guys on the offensive side of the ball, and we handled our business for the most part. But I think it's a good fit for him, though, to be honest with you, Joy. I really do.
Just stay with Russ. He's familiar with this. He knows how to get to the arena already.
Feeling him, though. They're probably just not feeling him like that.
I don't understand, though. What did Aaron Rodgers do on the field that would convince you that he's going to be better?
I would say about his last 5 games, he started to look like a NFL quarterback.
And people are wondering.
How is that the standard?
They're still wondering if
he's starting to look like an NFL quarterback.
Starting to look like an NFL quarterback.
It was his first year back off an Achilles, and that takes time.
It's a lateral move.
He's going to be 42 years old.
Yeah, but Aaron brings something, guys. Aaron brings something, and obviously, you asking the question says it all. I know at the end of the year, they said they will make a choice between the 2 quarterbacks that they have. That's what Mr. Rooney said. But obviously, the coaching staff and everybody has said, man, maybe we've seen the ceiling with Russell.
Yeah.
Maybe we've seen the ceiling, and let's go in a different direction because that's why they're talking to Aaron Rodgers. I think this is a great fit.
What if Russ bolts and goes to the Giants? And all you got is Aaron Rodgers.
I think he is.
Okay, so let's say he goes to the Giants. Now what you going to do?
Well, if there's no other option, sure.
It's different. But you're saying if it's a choice.
I'm saying if it's a choice, why wouldn't you go with the guy who's already in the building?
Because I've seen him enough.
And you know that ceiling.
We just saw Aaron Rodgers.
No, he wasn't with us. He was with them.
Right. Right.
What's going to be the difference? What will be the difference?
How is Aaron going to be significant?
Man,
Do we think Aaron
put that- he gonna put that playoff record in jeopardy.
I ain't gonna lie to you, Joy. Like I said, them last 5 games, the ball was coming out nice at times. I'm just telling you.
What? Key.
I'm just telling you.
Hold on, court reporter. Can we just run this back? You just said the ball was coming out nice at times.
Yeah.
Why is that? What is appealing about that?
Because you can tell that he was kind of getting back into form to some degree. I understand. I know.
Well, I'm sorry. When was the last time we saw Aaron Rodgers look like a quarterback that could take you to the playoffs and win a game?
Well, there are 2 things, though,
3
Joy.
years?
You're looking at what we see, just him throwing the ball and everything out. But they're also looking at the knowledge he has, the not making the mistakes. Can he handle our offense? And I think he will grow the offense. My issue is there's a reason they went from Justin Fields to Russell Wilson, because they said we need a little bit more.
And Justin Fields
and they got a little bit more out of Russell Wilson. But towards the end of the year, when they had that gauntlet of teams that were already in the playoffs, and then when they went into the playoffs, the more they got out of Russell Wilson, still fell short. So they said we need a little bit more out of this quarterback.
Significantly short.
But with Russell Wilson, they were leading the division the whole year until the end. Until they
had to play the division.
Yeah, until they fell off the cliff.
At the end of the year, they finished playing the division. And they were losing all of those games and then went into the playoffs and lost the game. So, yeah, you're leading the division playing other teams. But when you play the teams in the division, you can't.
Yeah, when you start playing the Baltimore, you're getting punched in the mouth.
Right.
Yeah,
but they beat Baltimore this year.
I understand.
It was rough. But what did Aaron do last year?
Yeah, but
Russ got his team to the playoffs.
First of all, Aaron Rodgers was in a dysfunctional situation all the way around.
And he was part of it.
He created that.
Well, he didn't create it. No, he didn't create it. He's just been dysfunctional long before he
the headlines
while he was in Green Bay.
When you and Robert Saleh, you pushing him, that's headlines. Now we talking about that.
He was part of it. But the Jets
missing OTAs, then we talking about it. I mean, he's creating these issues.
But all of those things aren't going to happen. It's a difference when you got a locker room, and when I mean a locker room, a strong locker room that's not going to put up with the nonsense, Paul. He came into a situation that he ran.
Right.
You ain't running nothing. The Rooneys is running this, and Mike Tomlin is running this.
Yeah, but he ain't in the locker room. You know the locker room is different when the players are in there and Mike is over in his office over there.
No.
Who over here is speaking up when Rodgers? Who gonna say something to the 4-time MVP?
I bet you
who
can't.
Got the Eagle?
I bet you can't. That dude with the big old beard. That Cam Hayward, that big beard. Yeah, I promise you, my right hand.
To Aaron Rodgers, though?
To Aaron freaking Rodgers. Man, he'll put Aaron Rodgers in the chokehold. He ain't worried about that.
Out of respect of the vets, you will not do that to Aaron Rodgers.
Man, if Aaron Rodgers come and disrupt that locker room, I promise you.
What is that? I mean, what does disruption look like? He's just not playing well.
No, just not listening and doing it his own way.
And doing anything crazy. And before they do anything, they'll have an understanding that you will have to be. Because the one thing we're not talking about, and I know one of my best friends, Fredo Roberts, coaches there, coaches the tight ends. In Pittsburgh, they coach everybody hard.
Yeah.
Ain't no break on nobody. And that's what it is. And Mike Tomlin believes in that. And Aaron Rodgers will have to fall into that, or Aaron Rodgers will be falling out the league.
I mean, listen, they're not going to have a losing season. We know that.
No.
Okay, and if you're Aaron Rodgers.
Mike Tomlin has won with Duck Hodges and Kenny Pickett and Trubisky and a long list of other guys. Mm-hmm. So they'll be 500 at least. We know that. I'm just trying to ask what the expectations are going to be, really.
I think the expectations.
Because I think it's a wash.
I think you're gonna get those same sort of expectations. I hate to say it, Joy, that you got in New York.
Oh my God.
I know.
What do you mean?
That they're going to compete at a high level and make a run.
Tell the truth.
Run.
Tell the truth and shame the devil, Gee. Don't soften it.
I didn't soften it.
Yeah, you did.
That's Super Bowl.
Thank you.
That's the expectation is going to be. You're bringing in a guy who's won a Super Bowl. You're bringing in a 4-time
Russ won a Super Bowl.
But hold on.
Russ has been to more Super Bowls than Aaron's been to.
Many people felt like Pittsburgh hit on Russell Wilson at the beginning.
They looked great at one point in the season.
And they was like, oh, they go, okay, I see this.
You know who never looks great at any point in the season?
No, that's not true. I'm not going to.
Great?
No, it's not.
Not
Well,
good, great.
I mean,
not
no,
serviceable.
no, he
not through
looked,
the wells.
them last
through
5
the ball
games of the
well
season,
sometimes.
man, he threw the ball at times. I'm just saying. Maybe my choice of words with the sometimes is probably not the right choice of words.
The show is called Speak. The
But-
choice of words are important.
He looked solid.
You saw flashes of the old Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely, you
some
did.
sense. And you're
That's
never
gonna
he's
get better
never going to be
another
as
year.
mobile as he used to
In
be.
another year, it's going to be. You think it's going to look like that?
But
It might.
hold on. But listen. But this is why
In
I
a
was trying to
Pittsburgh
make the point
Steelers system.
that you
Yeah,
get
the
that you
system is
give
garbage.
him
That's what I'm saying.
you give him some leeways by the players you're bringing in. Him having the big guys, the big receivers on the outside, that's leeway. You don't have to throw that perfect pass. These guys can go and get it. You give them leeway. Now I'm asking him, just don't make the bad decisions that are going to put us in a bad situation. That's all. And Aaron Rodgers, we saw what Peyton Manning did his last year in Denver. He was not anywhere near what the Peyton Manning we had known him to be, but he was shoulders up. And he thought the game through and made the right plays when they had it. And that's what Aaron Rodgers will give.
And they had a nice defense.
And he can
I hope
add
so.
something to your offense. That offense is stale and it's antiquated.
I hope he goes
And
to
it
Pittsburgh.
needs something.
I just hope he goes to
It
Pittsburgh.
needs
I can just
something.
Look at
Not even
you
a
every
good
day.
fit.
I mean, it's looking like he is going to go to
hope he
Pittsburgh.
go to
Jordan,
Pittsburgh.
Listen,
absolutely.
I hope they do win. I just don't understand what the immense
I
optimism
would put
is
them in the
with
Super Bowl race too with them. I would too.
A healthy
But you're saying, listen, if you are always putting up a winning team and you have not had a quarterback, and I know now you have this quarterback. I see what you did with those two quarterbacks, but Aaron Rodgers has always been another level, even over Russell Wilson. Let me see what he is now, a year removed.
How many games did they win last year? 9 or 10?
They won 9.
9. So if he could add 1 or 2 more, and they can get that.
You 11
they can get
games?
to 11. Let's say they can get to 11, Joy, and they get into the playoffs. And he could be Aaron Rodgers at times in the playoffs with a nice running game and them 2 bookend receivers and that defense playing like they capable of playing.
10 games.
You ain't going to be sitting there in San Francisco frowning. You're going to be happy as pie.
I mean, I love it. I'm looking at Rodgers and Wilson's numbers from last year. They're basically identical.
Right.
The only thing that's different is, of course, the win-loss.
But it's
Now,
something.
I want to
out
go
of
with
the
the guy
bad
that
place.
knows how to get to the arena right now.
But you want to go with
What's
the
the
guy
difference?
that knows how to get you
And he's
out of
familiar with the
all the
players.
bad situations.
He's familiar
And
with
right
the,
now,
with the players.
that's Aaron Rodgers. That's Aaron
Well,
Rodgers.
there's even less going on with Russell Wilson. A return to the Steelers or a move to the Giants is possible. But, Paul, what is next for Russell Wilson?
It's only Steelers or Giants. But if I'm him, I mean, I don't know what the situation there is in Pittsburgh or why they haven't signed him or if they want him or not. But those are the only 2 choices if he wants to be a starting quarterback. There's no other situations in the NFL to where I see Russell coming in as a starter. I say, listen, if you go to the Giants should draft Shador. He can learn under him from a year, take over the reins, so there's no pressure. I understand it's New York. But those are the only options for Russell Wilson, either back to the Steelers or somehow get to the Giants if they want him. That's about it. We're backing into a wall right now. Everybody's like, it's slim pickings out here for these old guys. And so that's it for him.
I mean, he's only 36.
Look, he'll get signed. Where that is, I have no idea. Will it be the Giants?
Starter or backup?
Yeah, I'm going to get there. He's going to get signed. But if I'm him and I kind of know him and I kind of know his wife a little bit and I know them as a family, he don't want to be no backup. And if it's left between being a backup, he most likely going to be working with us.
Oh.
Okay, for a little bit till somebody get hurt. Because there's no upside for him to go
And be a backup.
and be a backup. He's a depending on who you asking and talking to, Hall of Fame caliber player based on what he's done in the National Football League. Hall of Fame caliber players don't go be backups. That's just not. We're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not doing that. And I can certainly see him saying, you know what? I'll sit tight if Pittsburgh don't work out, the Giants don't work out. I'll sit tight until somebody get hurt,
Which will happen.
which most likely will happen on the team that's competing. And now I can go in as a veteran quarterback and ride that wave
As a fill-in starter.
as a fill-in starter.
But Russ, like I tell you, like all of us, believes that he still can do it and still can do it at a high level.
But he was
just
playing
wants the
well up until that
opportunity.
last stretch.
He
was
just wants
playing
that
well.
opportunity.
Yeah,
So if the Giants do sign him, and say he gets to the Giants, and the Giants still want a quarterback and everything, Russ understands this. This is how Russ grabbed his title and grabbed that belt. You know, Matt Flynn, they had just signed Matt Flynn to start in Green Bay when they drafted Russell Wilson.
Seattle.
In Seattle, when they drafted Russell, when he came in and took over. So he understands that. And I know he'll take that opportunity. But I don't see any place else outside of the Giants.
I mean, depending on what happens in Minnesota, right? They got Brett Rippon, and they like J.J. McCarthy. So,
but he's supposed to be healthy for camp.
That's what I'm saying. If J.J. McCarthy's healthy for camp, that's probably a no-go.
Right.
Rippon's the only other guy on the roster that's under contract.
I mean, we're talking about a backup position. There's lots of places that would love to have Russ as a
but
backup,
I ain't doing that.
But you got to even be careful with that now, because if you're training a young kid, if you're training the right guy, and then he's having some struggles, now you got people asking to put Russell Wilson in. So you have to be careful with him backing up the wrong person.
Yeah. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.